Good morning, class, and welcome back. I want everyone, as we begin class, I want everyone to get out their homework that I assigned for last night. If we remember, I gave you all packets on that had a bunch of resources to different websites and links that you could use to research one of your four wartime eras. Okay? So once you guys are getting that out, quickly before I dismiss you into your groups, because each of you had one of the four wartime areas, I will just want to quickly go over the instructional objective that we have for this particular lesson. So you guys will be able to compare and contrast modern warfare with warfare in previous eras, focusing on changes in technology, making evidence-based claims about the changes in the warfare and the resulting effects. So let's quickly go over all four of the eras and make sure we all know which group we're in. Okay, so beginning we have the ancient history and we had the Greek phalanx. Okay, so these group members were Jonathan, Malcolm, Allison, and Hazel. Our second main era was medieval Europe, where you guys were focusing primarily on the longbow. All right, these group members were Ricky, Courtney, Diana, and Robin. Thirdly, we had World War I, where you guys were focusing on defensive technologies. And these guys were Oscar, Lily, Ruby, and Howard. And then finally, we had World War II, where you guys were focusing on offensive technologies. All right, these guys were Jim, Tim, Thomas, and Rachel. Okay, so let's quickly get into our group so that I can explain the instructions and you guys can begin working. All right, so for round one, I want you guys to discuss in your groups and I want you all to answer some of these questions about your specific area. So you guys should be able to answer, what were the technological advancements in your era? What impact did these advancements have on warfare? Describe the significance of your era by answering the following questions. Why was it important at the time? What was the number of people that were affected? What was the depth of the effect on people? What was the duration of the effect on people? How did these changes lead to other important events? Remember, I gave you guys that heuristic after the end of class yesterday. So you guys should be able to answer these questions. Okay, let's give me group one here in the front left, group two in the front right. We'll have group three in the back left, and group four can be in the back right as well. All right, so if there's no questions, let's begin. So at this point, the students would be working, and I would just be walking around the room, assessing them, making sure they're doing their work, making sure they're on track and whatnot before we moved into round two. All right, if I can have everyone's attention right now, we're going to move into round two. So I want everyone to listen up as I start to give instructions. All right, I want everyone to form new groups that consist of one member from each era. Okay, so I've already done it and I've listed the groups as you can see on the board. Okay, so I want everyone to get into their groups right now, and let's have group one up here at the front left. We'll have group two at the front right, and then give me group three on the back left and group four on the back right. Perfect. Now that we're all into our groups, we can begin. All right, so just listen carefully as I start to give instructions. Within your groups, I want you to come to a consensus on which era produced the greatest significance in regard to these questions. They all relate back to that heuristic that I gave you guys after the end of last class yesterday. I'll just go over them one more time. Why was it important at the time? What was the number of people that were affected? What was the depth of the effect on people? What was the duration of the effect on people? And how did these changes lead to other important events in history? So likewise in your groups, you are to also describe why certain eras were not significant. So give me which one you thought was the most significant, and then describe by the other three you think were not as significant as the one that you picked. All right, so there's no more questions. You guys can begin on that. So at this point, I would be doing the same thing. Just walking around the room, assessing them, making sure that they're working and on task and researching the right material. And I would also, at this time, tell them that we'll be presenting on their findings if we have time at the end of class, which I doubt that we would based on how much group activity would need to take place. And so if we didn't have time, we would just do that tomorrow morning. That's it. Thank you.